Not all pizza is created equal, and some chains prove it the hard way. In Pizza Chains Ranked from Worst to Best, we're about to expose why that all-you-can-eat buffet might be costing you more than you think, why the mall food court is home to slices that barely survive under heat lamps, and how nostalgia can't save a crust drowning in grease. Behind every big-name pie is a story of shortcuts, cost cuts, and quality gambles. And for some, the results are truly hard to swallow. But which chain deserves its spot at the absolute bottom? And who claws their way back toward pizza redemption? The real ranking starts now. Number 12, Sissis. The all-you-can-eat pizza buffet. A concept that sounds like a dream until you actually try the pizza. Sissis isn't just about quantity over quality. It's quantity at the expense of quality. The crust comes in two modes, pan or hand-tossed, but both manage to taste like bread that's been left out in a gym locker. Each slice is a gamble. Sometimes you get a doughy, underbaked wedge. Other times, it's so dry it could double as a coaster. The sauce tries to play it safe, simple, a little sweet, a little salty, but without any real depth. It's the kind of red sauce that tastes like someone read the word herbs on a recipe and just moved on. The cheese situation at Sissis is more of a suggestion than a commitment. It's a blend that aims for cost savings, not flavor, and the coverage is so sparse you can see your reflection in the grease. Add in the buffet's high-volume, assembly line approach, and you get pizzas that sit under heat lamps or on warming trays for hours. The result? Cheese that congeals, toppings that slide off, and a crust that goes from limp to brittle in record time. Every bite reminds you that you're eating pizza designed to survive, not to impress. But Sissis does have one thing going for it: value. For the price of a fancy coffee, you can eat your fill of every pizza style imaginable, from taco to macaroni, all in one sitting. Of course, the trade-off is consistency. No two slices are ever quite the same, and not in a good way. The only thing you can count on is that the best pie is the one that just came out of the oven, and even then, it's a race against the clock before it succumbs to the buffet's slow, greasy demise. Sissis is the place to go if you want to eat a lot of pizza, not if you want to remember any of it. Number 11, Sparrow. The mall food court legend, serving up extra-large New York-style slices that look impressive behind glass, but rarely taste as good as they look. Sparrow's crust is big, thin, and built for display, but after a few rounds under the heat lamp, it loses all structural integrity. Take a bite and the tip droops, the cheese slides, and you're left with a floppy, lukewarm mess. The sauce is mild and inoffensive, but that's just another way of saying forgettable. It doesn't stand a chance against the relentless drying power of the food court heat lamps. Cheese and toppings at Sparrow start out decent, but once that slice has been sitting for a while, it's game over. The cheese dries out, the pepperoni curls up and hardens, and any moisture left in the crust disappears. The par-bake and reheat method means you're almost never getting a fresh pie, just a slice that's been revived for the umpteenth time. It's convenience over quality, every single time. Sparrow's claim to fame is the sheer size of its slices, and the ease of grabbing a quick meal between shopping sprees or airport layovers. But the value is all about speed, not satisfaction. Unless you catch a pie coming straight from the oven, you're probably getting a slice that's seen better days. In the end, Sparrow delivers the food court experience in all its glory. Fast, familiar, and just good enough to keep you moving, but never good enough to make you crave a return trip. When pizza becomes a background act to escalators and security lines, you know it's landed in the bottom tier. Number 10, Little Caesars. The value king of American pizza, and they don't even try to hide it. Walk in, $5, hot and ready, and you're out the door before you can say extra cheese. The crust is a study in simplicity. Light, bready, and just thick enough to hold its shape, but don't expect any artisanal chew or blistered edges. It's the kind of foundation that gets the job done. Nothing more, nothing less. The sauce is a supporting actor, balanced, a little herby, a little sweet, but it never tries to steal the spotlight. Cheese coverage is even, but the blend is basic. No one's mistaking this for a dairy masterpiece. The real trick here is volume. Conveyor ovens crank out pies at a relentless pace, and the hot and ready model means there's always a pizza waiting. Consistency is actually pretty solid. You know exactly what you're getting, and that's part of the appeal. Little Caesars doesn't make promises it can't keep. They've built an empire on being the fastest, cheapest option in town, and for families on a budget or college kids on a midnight run, that's enough. But value has its limits. The flavor profile is safe, the cheese is serviceable, and the crust never surprises you. It's pizza that fills you up, not pizza that makes you pause and appreciate the moment. For $5, you get honesty and speed, but you're trading away depth. No crispy air pockets, no tangy sauce finish, just a straightforward no-frills pie that's always, well, ready. Number 9, Pizza Hut. Once the king of Friday night, now a nostalgia machine that's lost some of its shine. The original pan pizza is the icon here, a thick, golden crust with a crispy, buttery rim that's equal parts comfort and calorie bomb. That crust owes its texture to a heavy pour of oil in every pan, giving you a bite that's rich and almost fried around the edges. The sauce leans sweet, a flavor that's stuck with the brand for decades, and the cheese comes on thick. There's no skimping here, but the trade-off is a pizza that can grease out fast, especially if the bake isn't watched closely. Pizza Hut's technique is all about indulgence, oiled pans, generous toppings, and a bake that's meant to feel rich. But that same formula can backfire. Too much oil and you're left with a pizza that sits heavy, with a crust that sometimes feels more like fried dough than bread. Consistency is a wild card. Some stores nail the crispy rim and pillowy center, others serve up soggy bottoms or overbaked edges, depending on how fresh the dough is and who's running the oven. Deals are frequent, but the price lands in the middle of the pack. What keeps Pizza Hut afloat is memory. The red roof, the arcade, the feeling of eating something special as a kid. But nostalgia only goes so far when the product can't always deliver. The pan heritage is real, but the execution needs more than a trip down memory lane. For all its history, Pizza Hut is a reminder that technique matters. Too much oil, an off-bake, or a heavy hand with the cheese, and the magic slips away. The difference between comfort food and regret is just a few degrees in the oven. That's why value and nostalgia get you to the middle of the list, but not any higher. Number 8, MOD Pizza. The build-your-own pizza revolution starts here, and with it, a whole new set of variables. MOD's fast casual assembly line promises a personal 11-inch pie with as many toppings as you want, all for one flat price. The crust is thin, crisp edge when it's right, but with so many hands and so many choices, consistency can go out the window fast. Some days you get a crust that's light and airy with just the right chew. Other days, it's stretched too thin, dry at the edges, or soggy in the middle from a mountain of toppings. It all depends on who's working the line and how heavy-handed you get with the extras. The sauce is classic and straightforward, but it's not the star of the show. MOD's real hook is customization. Unlimited toppings, from roasted red peppers to balsamic glaze. The cheese and toppings are fresh and plentiful, but the experience lives and dies by how evenly everything is spread. Too much of anything, and the crust wilts. Too little, and you're left with a bare, cracker-like base. The gas-fired oven blazes away, finishing most pies in about 3 to 5 minutes, but the final result is a direct reflection of the crew's skill and attention to detail. When they nail it, you get a crisp, flavorful flatbread with a perfect char. When they don't, you're looking at uneven bakes and limp slices. Still, for the price, MOD delivers a solid lunch option and a sense of control you won't find at the big chains. It's pizza as a canvas, sometimes a masterpiece, sometimes a finger painting, always your own. Number 7, Blaze Pizza. This is where the fast casual model goes full artisan. Blaze brings the heat, literally, with open flame ovens cranked up to around 800 degrees. The dough is light and high hydration, designed to puff and blister in a 3-minute bake. The crust can be a revelation, thin, chewy, with a gentle char around the edges, if the crew knows what they're doing. But that's a big if. Blaze's ovens are unforgiving. Too much time and you get a scorched bottom. Too little and the center stays gummy. The sauce is tangy, with a little more bite than most, and Blaze offers multiple options if you want to get fancy. Cheese and toppings are a playground for vegans, carnivores, and everyone in between. But the real challenge is balance. Overload the pie and you'll end up with a soggy mess that can't hold its own weight. Blaze's real strength is speed and spectacle. Watching your pizza blaze through the oven in just a few minutes is half the fun. But the high heat, high speed model rewards skill and punishes mistakes. A well-trained team can turn out fast, flavorful pies with crispy crust and bubbling cheese. An off day, and you're left with burnt edges or undercooked dough. The value is strong for what you get, and the customization options are nearly endless. But at the end of the day, Blaze is only as good as the crew behind the counter and the restraint of the person piling on toppings. When it all comes together, you get a fast, casual pie that actually tastes like it came from a neighborhood pizzeria. When it doesn't, well, at least you didn't have to wait long to find out. Number 6, Godfather's Pizza. This is where the Midwest takes the wheel and refuses to let go. Godfather's is the king of loaded pies. Thick, chewy crust that feels more like a breadstick than a pizza base, topped with a mountain of cheese and enough toppings to tip the scale at your local deli. The crust is hearty, almost dense, with a chew that lingers just long enough to remind you that this is comfort food, not a quick snack. The sauce leans savory, but it can feel weighty, especially when it's fighting for attention under all that cheese. Every slice is a commitment, and every bite is a reminder that restraint is not in Godfather's vocabulary. If you love a pie that's more casserole than pizza, this is your spot. But here's the catch. All that heft comes at a price. Salt and grease build up fast, and after a couple slices, you're left reaching for a glass of water, or maybe a nap. Godfather's thrives in the heartland, where the buffet model and oversized portions are still a draw, but outside its strongholds, the style feels stuck in a time capsule. Other chains have evolved. Godfather's has doubled down on nostalgia and sheer volume. It's a pizza that fills you up but rarely leaves you wanting more. Number 5, Papa Murphy's. This is the wild card of the pizza world, the only major chain that doesn't bake your pie at all. Instead, you walk out with a raw, generously topped pizza and a set of instructions, and the rest is up to you and your home oven. The dough is made fresh in store and handed over unbaked. So if you nail the timing and temperature, you get a crust that rises in your own kitchen, soft on the inside, crisp on the edges, and as fresh as it gets. The sauce stands out for its brightness, made with uncooked tomatoes that keep their acidity and pop. Cheese and toppings are piled on thick, and you're in charge of how bubbly or browned you want the finish. The catch? Consistency is only as good as your oven skills. Undercook it and you get a gummy center. Overdo it and you're chewing on a cracker. But when everything lines up, Papa Murphy's delivers a slice that feels closer to homemade than anything from a conveyor belt. The value is strong, especially for the size, and the per ounce price beats most delivery chains. For families who want to control the bake and eat a pizza straight from their own oven, this is as close to DIY as chain pizza gets. The ceiling is high, but the floor depends on you. Papa Murphy's rewards the careful, the patient, and the home cook at heart, one perfectly baked pie at a time. These two chains prove there's more than one way to stand out in the pizza world. Godfather's bets on nostalgia and sheer abundance, while Papa Murphy's hands you the keys and lets your oven do the talking. Both have loyal followings and regional pride, but neither cracks the top tier, because in the next league, technical execution and flavor balance aren't just options, they're requirements. Number 4, Jet's Pizza. This is Detroit style done at scale, and it's not just a gimmick, it's a technical achievement. The crust is what sets Jet's apart. Thick, airy, and loaded with those caramelized, almost crunchy Frico edges that only happen when cheese meets steel. Each pie starts with dough pressed by hand into proprietary steel pans, the kind you can't buy at a restaurant supply store. These pans trap heat, turning pillowy dough into a base that's both light and sturdy, with a golden, crispy bottom that actually stands up to the mountain of cheese and toppings. The cheese goes right to the edge, bubbling over and crisping into a border that's half snack, half structural support. Sauce isn't just slathered on. Jet's often stripes it over the top, bright and tangy, so every bite hits with a pop of acidity against the richness of the cheese. When it's done right, you get a slice that's equal parts airy, gooey, and crunchy, with a flavor that lingers long after you're done. But here's the catch. Detroit style is a balancing act. Too much oil in the pan and the crust soaks it up like a sponge. Not enough heat, and you lose that signature Frico crunch. Jet's gets it right more often than not, but when a store misses the mark, you're left with a pie that feels heavy and a little too greasy. Still, when they nail it, there's nothing else like it at this scale. Number 3, Domino's. This is where technology meets pizza, and the results are shockingly reliable. Domino's has engineered their entire operation for one thing: consistency. The crust is a marvel of programming. Every store uses conveyor ovens calibrated to deliver the same crisp edge and chewy center, whether you're in Portland, Maine, or Portland, Oregon. The dough formula is tuned to work with these ovens, so what you get is predictable every time: a base that's sturdy but never tough, with a hint of garlic and cornmeal that gives it just enough character. The sauce is tangy, loaded with herbs, and always evenly spread, thanks to portion cups and strict prep routines. Cheese melts the same way in every location, because the recipe and bake profile are locked in by software. It's not artisan, but it's not trying to be. Domino's has turned pizza into a science experiment that somehow still tastes good. The real trick is how they've managed to keep this machine running across thousands of kitchens, with minimal drop-off in quality. No matter where you order, you know exactly what you're getting: a pie that's hot, balanced, and ready for whatever toppings you throw at it. Some call it soulless, others call it genius. Either way, Domino's delivers, literally and figuratively, by making sure no slice is ever a surprise. Where Jets is all about the handcrafted pan magic, Domino's is the master of the algorithm. Two different philosophies, both landing near the top. In the world of chain pizza, you can chase the edge, or you can program perfection. Here, both approaches are in their spot. The final showdown comes down to two heavyweights, Marco's and Papa John's, each with a loyal following and a signature flavor profile that's impossible to mistake. Marco's builds its reputation on a sturdy, golden crust and a sauce that doesn't just play backup. Their sauce is the star, robust, savory, and loaded with herbs and spice, the kind that clings to your taste buds and hangs on through every bite. The cheese isn't just a topping, it's a 3-cheese blend, never frozen, stretching edge to edge, with pepperoni piled on so thick it nearly covers the surface. Every slice feels like a meal, not just a snack. The bake is strong, the bottom gets good color, the rim has a solid bite, and the whole thing holds up under a mountain of toppings. But Papa John's has something the others can't quite match. Their crust is hand-tossed, with a clean, even bake, and a rim that's chewy without being tough. The sauce leans sweet but brings enough herbs to keep it interesting and unmistakably theirs. The cheese coverage is even, the pepperoni cups curl and crisp, and every pie arrives with 2 signature extras, a cup of garlic sauce and a whole pepperoncini. That's not just garnish, it's a ritual. The garlic sauce is the move that takes a plain slice and turns it into a craveable experience. Dunk the crust, chase the heat with a bite of pepper, and suddenly you're not just eating pizza, you're finishing the box. Marco's delivers on flavor, portion, and that edge-to-edge coverage that wins taste tests and keeps sauce lovers coming back. But Papa John's clinches the top spot by nailing the full experience: consistent bake, a flavor profile you can pick out of a lineup, and those box extras that make every order feel like a little celebration. When the last slice is gone, and you're left with a swirl of garlic sauce and a pepperoncini stem, it's clear: Papa John's knows how to win the final round. Marco's may own the sauce game, but Papa John's owns the ritual, and sometimes that's what tips the scales. The debate's open, but the crown goes to the one that makes pizza night feel like an event, not just a meal. Across 12 national chains, this ranking traced how technique, consistency, and signature touches define pizza quality in America. Documented evidence showed buffet and heat lamp models like Cicis and Sparrow trade freshness for speed, while value leaders such as Little Caesars and Pizza Hut rely on nostalgia and budget pricing at the cost of flavor complexity. Chains like MOD, Blaze, and Papa Murphy's prove that build your own options, and home baking introduce both opportunity and inconsistency, supported by oven specifications and prep standards. At the top, Jets, Domino's, Marco's, and Papa John's separate themselves through controlled baking methods, robust sauce recipes, and in Papa John's case, signature extras verified in box contents nationwide. Questions remain about how future menu changes or tech advances could shift rankings. Full ingredient sourcing and bake data are often proprietary. Yet, the available records confirm, in 2024, national pizza chains succeed not just by price or speed, but by delivering a distinct, reliable experience, slice after slice.